Chapter 2 Volvo S60 Or Have you ever wondered what happened to all the engineers? 200 years ago, the world must have been full of men in frock coats inventing new ways of doing everything. Conversation at the pub is now terribly dull. What did you do at work today? Oh, nothing much. Tried to look up the secretary's skirt for a bit, then did some filing. Imagine, however, what it must have been like in 1750. What did you do at work today? Well, I invented a steam engine, and then this afternoon I developed a new way of keeping time. You? Oh, same old, same old. I came up with a new way of tunneling, and then I designed the pressure cooker. All over the world there was people saying, "See how that sparrow makes his nest, using its beak to intertwine the twigs. It has given me an idea of something I shall call a washing machine." I've been watching Adam Hart Davis's new series on BBC Two. It's called What the Tudors and Stuarts Did for Us, and it's been going on unnecessarily for weeks. It seems the answer could have been given in 2 seconds. Everything. In the space of a gnat's blink, we went from a species that ate mud to full-on civilization, with blast furnaces, steam engines, and new ways of making sure the roof on your house did not fall down. It must have been easy when the Victorians came along to look at what had already been achieved and think, well, there's nothing else left for us to invent, but inevitably they kept on going with their railway engines and their iron ships and their electricity. Even as the 20th century trundled into life, you couldn't go for a walk on any cliff top without bumping into someone who was muttering and making notes. John Logie Baird, for instance, he started out by inventing self-warming socks. Then he developed Jamba 4 on a stroll through Hastings, deciding to come up with radiovision, or television as we now call it. To us that seems incomprehensible. I mean, I went for a stroll this morning and decided to design a time machine, but I have no clue how I might go about it. Baird, on the other hand, went into a shop, bought a hat box, 2 knitting needles, and hey presto, the next thing you know, we have Robert Kilroy silk. Those were exciting times. The Victorians had the great exhibition of 1851 to showcase their wares and their brilliance. They saw mechanical engineering as future of the world, the one thing that separated us from the beasts and the flies. Now we have electronic engineering, which is not only stratospherically dull, but also fills us with fear and dread. Ever since 1968, when Hal went bonkers and ate the crew of Discovery 1, we've been brought up to be frightened of it. Computers, we were told by James Cameron in The Terminator, would one day finish mankind. And Prince Charles agrees. He sees a time when nanorobots will learn to push buttons and end the world in a nuclear holocaust. I'm not so sure, in fact. I have no fears at all about a robot the size of a human hair climbing onto a table. How exactly? And pushing the erase key. Because we can be guaranteed that either the robot or the computer will have broken long before the bomb ever goes boom. Think about it. Paddington Station is still as beautiful and as functional as it was when Brunel built it almost 150 years ago. Now compare it with the mobile phone you bought last September. Ugly, isn't it? And where's the camera and the electronic diary and the video facility? Not that it matters, because it all started out by not working in Fulham, and now it doesn't work at all. Have you still got the video recorder you bought back in 1985? Or the camera? Of course not. They went wrong years ago. That's the same story with DVDs. I bought one of the first 4 portable players for a monstrous £850, and already it's fit only for the bin. And this brings me to the new Volvo S60R. Apparently, it's a 4-wheel drive, 4-door answer to BMW's M3. A slightly optimistic boast when you look under the bonnet and find the 2.5-litre turbo engine develops 300 brake horsepower. That's a lot, for sure, but if the M3 is your Gare du Nord, 300 is only halfway through the Channel Tunnel. And I'm sorry, but turbocharging is positively James Watt. Volvo plows in. However, saying the S60R has, and I quote, the most advanced chassis of any road car, it's called the Skyhook system because in comfort and sport modes it feels as though the car is suspended from above rather than propped up on such crudities as the wheels and suspension. There's more too. In the shape of active yaw control, two traction controls, and a setting called advanced that, we're told, turns the S60 into a pure racing car. It all sounded too good to be true, and it was. I borrowed one, drove it to the Top Gear test track, and selected the advanced setting that unhooks the car from the sky. But way before I had the chance to decide whether I liked it or not, in fact, way before I got around the first corner, the whole thing broke. A message on the dash simply said, chassis settings, service. Another car was duly delivered, and I spent a day pushing buttons, so that now I have a definitive verdict for you. Comfort makes the car comfortable, sport makes the car less comfortable, and advanced makes it uncomfortable. So far as handling's concerned, it didn't seem to make any difference what setting I selected, so after much careful deliberation, 3 seconds, I put the whole thing in comfort and went home. That said, I rather liked the Volvo. In the past, I've never really seen the point of the S60. Buying one was like deliberately sleeping with the plain boring girl rather than her bubbly pretty German friend. But the R version, with its new nose and big alloy wheels, is pretty too. Strangely, it doesn't feel that fast. I've read the figures, and I'm sure they're right, but this is not a rip-snorting terrier, constantly surging up to the corners faster than you'd like. All cars have a motorway cruising speed at which they settle when you're not really concentrating. Mostly it's 80 or so, though when you get up to something like the Mercedes S600, it's more like 110. In the Volvo, however, I kept finding myself doing 60. On country roads, I'd remind myself that I was at the wheel of a turbocharged four-wheel drive sports saloon and overtake the car in front. With consummate case, it must be said, but then, a mile or so later, it'd be up behind me, its driver wondering why I was suddenly going so slowly. As a result, it's a relaxing car to drive. Certainly, you have no need to worry about being ambushed by a speed camera. Either you're concentrating, in which case you'll see it, or you're not, in which case you'll be doing 3 miles per hour. I loved the interior too. The seats are fabulously comfortable. The stereo is as good as you'll find in any car, and I would never tire of watching the sat-nav screen slide out of the dash as if installed by Q. It'll break, obviously, but while it's working, it's wonderful. What we have then is a comfortable, safe, well-equipped, well-priced car that, if you can really be bothered, is quite fast as well. As a thriller, it misses the BMW by a mile, but as an ownership experience, I'd take the Volvo over the M3 every time. It's so much less, how can I put this politely, plonkerish. More importantly, however, it also misses the Audi S4. Like the Volvo, this has a turbo motor, 4 doors, and 4-wheel drive. Like the Volvo, it's quiet, comfortable, and unassuming when you just want to get home. Unlike the Volvo, when conditions are right, the Audi picks up its lederhosen and absolutely flies. Even though it's a couple of grand more expensive, I'd buy the Audi. It's more mechanical somehow, but if you want the Bill Gates Volvo, don't worry, you are not getting a bad car. Sunday, 29th of June, 2003.